The suspense is over and the anticipation can peak. You can mark your calendars because the IPL 2025 schedule is out. Hello and welcome to the special presentation. This is IPL 2025 schedule announcement. It begins on the 22nd of March, Saturday, the 22nd of March. Block your calendars from the 22nd March to 25th of May. We will see Tata IPL 2025 playing out. You will have the league matches starting on the 22nd of March, running up till the 18th of May, and then comes playoffs week, May 21st to May 25th, and the 25th of May is the final. It will be played at Eden Gardens, which is also where the season kicks off, and what a blockbuster opening weekend it is for Tata IPL 2025. The game that kick-started the IPL on the 18th of April 2008 will kickstart the 18th edition of this magnificent tournament. KKR hosting RCB at Eden Gardens on Saturday, followed by the season's first doubleheader, which sees big hitters in the afternoon. Sunrisers Hyderabad, runners-up from last year, against Rajasthan Royals, and then comes the Classico. The first doubleheader of the season will end with CSK versus Mumbai Indians. Can it get any bigger, any better? On the show, we are going to break down the entire schedule announcement for you. I'm joined by our experts. We've got George Binoy and Nagraj Golapudi from ESPN Cricket 4. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. What a blockbuster first weekend it's going to be. Nagraj, season 18 kicks off right where IPL started. KKR meeting RCB.
Yeah, trust the quizmaster in you to gather that detail. I had forgotten the first match was very much between these two, but KKR will be very happy also, isn't it? Like they have a very dominant record at Eden Gardens. Like Winky Mysore, a good friend, will always say nothing is easy in IPL, which is true. But I would think that KKR, who are yet to announce a captain and have revamped the squad in a way, though retaining the core group, they will be very happy to start against an opponent who I think, if my numbers are right, they hold in the 12 matches that they both teams have played at Eden. KKR have won 8 of them. So clearly that is a good thing for them. But yeah, everyone will be looking forward to Sunday evening for sure. That first Sunday evening where CSK host MI at Chepauk, and I'm looking forward to, other than Dhoni, of course, everyone will look forward to. I'm looking forward to R. Ashwin playing back in yellow since, I think, 2011 when CSK won when he last played there. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that match for sure.
जी हाँ, हेडलाइंस और नैरेटिव्स की कोई कमी नहीं है इस अनाउंसमेंट के बाद. जैसा नागराज ने बताया, केकेआर वर्सेस आरसीबी. केकेआर का कप्तान अभी नहीं पता है, पर आरसीबी के पास एक नया कप्तान है. रजत पाटीदार करेंगे आरसीबी की कप्तानी इस सीजन में. उनका पहला चैलेंज केकेआर जाना, जहां काफी मुश्किलों का सामना किया है आरसीबी ने इन द पास्ट. बट एज टीड अप, Sunday evening, CSK MI. George, there can't be a more spectacular start to a season.
Yeah, sometimes we've had to wait a while for the first CSK MI fixture, but right now it's coming, on the second day of the season. And in Chennai, with, as Nagraj said, Ashwin returning to as a CSK player after many, many years, playing in his hometown after retiring from international cricket, it's going to be a really big evening for him. And of course, everyone wants to watch Dhoni for these 2 months, and to kick off the season at home is going to be really, really special. Everyone will be looking to see whether he, what he comes up with this season. We've seen him evolve into this person who just walks in and starts hitting sixes over the last 2 years in a very, very specialized role. Does he still have it? I'm sure he's been practicing hitting those big ones. So yeah, all eyes will be on that. And then Hardik Pandya comes, to lead Mumbai and Chennai. And last year was a tough season for him. I'm sure now all the Mumbai fans will get after Hardik Pandya and, support the team in a much, much more vocal way than was apparent last season.
Okay, yes. So much to look forward to. MS Dhoni, Rohit Sharma, neither of them captains now, but so much riding on them. Hardik Pandya, Ruturaj Gaikwad, R. Ashwin, as pointed out, back at CSK, Trent Bolt back in MI. So there is so much. We are also joined by Dustin Silgado, my colleague from ESPN Cricket 4. Dustin, opening weekend looks quite spectacular. What are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, obviously 2 huge games with KKR, RCB and CSK MI. But also I think Sunrisers versus Royals should be an interesting game. it's likely to be a high-scoring one, is what I feel. Hyderabad is a high-scoring ground. India's new opening pair of Abhishek Sharma and Sanju Samson now facing each other. So could be a lot of runs, especially by the top order in that game.
Yes, that is a game to look forward to. No shortage of six hitters in that contest. You've got Abhishek, you've got Klaasen, you've got Samson, you've got Jaiswal. It will be a blockbuster. Then you have CSK Mumbai, and this is bigger news for fans of IPL's Classico, because last season you had CSK and MI taking on each other just the once in Wankhede, but this year they go back to playing each other twice. 23rd of March, the first weekend of the season, CSK versus Mumbai at Chepauk, and then on the 20th of April, almost a month later, they will lock horns at Wankhede. Nagaraj, this is also welcome news to the fans, because it feels like when you get to see them only once, it feels like it's not fun enough.
5 times champions each, they are always at each other. Sadly, I think one rivalry that was missing was Kieran Pollard versus Dwayne Bravo, which set it up. Which was one of the tales that people will keep talking about in the rich history of the IPL. CSK MI playing twice, and I think both the matches are evening games. I think Sunday matches, both are hosting. Yes. So that's going to be and we should remind the listeners and viewers that it's also how the groupings are done, basically, that each team plays the team from their own group twice, and then they play one team from the other group twice. And in this case, it's MI and CSK have picked each other, or rather IPL has picked. So clearly it is, I think, MI, CSK, and I think possibly RCB are the three teams that usually deliver full houses, usually are the teams that kind of are most kind of viewed also in that sense. So yeah, storylines, several storylines. So let's see how this goes on.
जी हाँ, पिछले सीजन सिर्फ एक बार मुलाकात हुई थी चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स और मुंबई इंडियंस की। वो मुलाकात वानखेड़े में थी। चेन्नई ने 200 मारे थे। MS धोनी आखिर में आए थे, 4 बॉलों में 20 रन लगाए, और CSK मैच जीते कितने से? 20 रन से। Despite the fact that Rohit Sharma hit 100 in the chase, but CSK ended up winning. Dustin, when you consider this match, it now has more layers because, of course, we've had a mega auction. There's a bit of a reset. Both teams have managed to retain a lot of their stars, but you will also have new players who will get a taste of this rivalry first up. No time to ease into an IPL season.
Yeah, it'll be a baptism of fire for all of them. But as you said, there's a lot of players also who played in this rivalry many times. So I'm sure that they'll kind of give the newer players a helping hand. And two teams that are looking to re-establish themselves at the top of the IPL table, which is going to make it even.
Oh, there's one thing, we should remember, if I may.
Go on, Nato.
The first match between which CSK will host, the question will be whether Hardik will play. Remember, Hardik had that one match ban from last year to carry forward. So whether this will be the next match, that will be very interesting. Who will lead if Hardik doesn't lead MI in that first match?
That is an interesting subplot. But whichever way you look at those two rosters, George, having recalibrated how these squads look now, both CSK and MI with differences to their makeup, who's looking stronger going into this opening weekend?
Oh, you put me on the spot there.
Yes.
CSK traditionally always favorites at home, because they play to their strengths at that venue. They found ways to win there. It used to be a spinner's venue, but last season we saw, CSK's fast bowlers have a lot more success there. So, the easy answer is that CSK are usually favorites at home, but this is a revamped MI side. They actually have picked some specialist spinners this time, although like Allah Ghazanfar has been injured, and I think they just drafted in Mujib ur Rahman as his replacement. So, they have strengthened that aspect of their squad. So it's not going to be easy to pick between the two.
जी हाँ, Chennai Super Kings, Mumbai Indians to close off the opening weekend of Tata IPL 2025. If you're just joining us, let's remind you that the fixtures for Tata IPL 2025 are out. It is a blockbuster opening weekend. The season kicks off with the match that started IPL altogether back in 2008. KKR versus RCB at Eden Gardens, the defending champions going up against what is now Rajat Patidar's RCB. It's followed by the season's first doubleheader on Sunday in the afternoon, a battle of the big hitters. Sunrisers Hyderabad hosting Rajasthan Royals, and then we go to Chepauk for Chennai Super Kings against Mumbai Indians, five-time champions, both ready to meet twice this season after having met only once. And let's dive into what CSK's pictures are looking like. क्योंकि Chennai Super Kings 2021 में जीते थे, फिर 2022 स्लाइटली क्वाइट, 2023 में जीते, 2024 में प्लेऑफ्स में नहीं गए. इस बार जैसा आप देख सकते हैं अपनी स्क्रीन पे, ये है चेन्नई की फिक्चर लिस्ट. लाइक Nagaraj has specified 14 matches. You don't play all teams twice. There are 5 teams you play twice. There are 4 teams you meet once. Let's sift through this, guys. Nagaraj, Dustin, immediate takeaways when you look at Chennai's fixtures?
Can I just quickly?
Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, one big takeaway is that they are not playing in Hyderabad, which could be an advantage for them because Hyderabad has been a difficult place to go to. As I said, it's a high-scoring venue, and Hyderabad have a team that is set up to do well there. The other thing that is interesting is GT don't travel to CSK this time. I think CSK usually do well against GT at home, so that's one fixture that they may kind of miss out on. But yeah, I think not going to Hyderabad is definitely an advantage for them.
Yeah, the other thing that stands out, if you sift through 4 of the first 6 matches at home, Chepauk, such a fortress. George, you've already specified how strong they are. So it bodes well for them that in the first half of the season, you potentially get to rack up a lot of those home wins that they tend to.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. 4 out of 6 home games, if they can get off to a strong winning start at home, it will give them a solid foundation to build their season upon. But as we've seen in the IPL, strange things can happen. RCB last year lost 6 games in a row and then won 6 games in a row to make the playoffs. So I wouldn't read too much into it. Yes, if CSK can maximize their home advantage, then great. It's a good starting point for them in the season because after that they have a few away games sprinkled in through that schedule. So yeah, if they can do that, then well and good. But I wouldn't say it's make or break maximizing that home advantage at the start.
Yeah, and also they have a different bowling attack. If you can look at those the names that I'm just going through, you have especially the spinners. You have Noor Ahmed added. You have then Jamie Overton coming in. He had a very difficult time during. I mean, of course, it's his first time, so you have to cut some slack for him. Where there'll be questions raised about what is Overton going to do. But I think Overton has a very good heavy ball, and then Chepauk, where it's 2-paced usually, he might become a interesting weapon. There's Sam Curran again coming back there, and then Rochin, Ravindran, etc. I think Patirana, he pulled out of a niggle from SA20, if I'm not mistaken, recently. So if he's fit or not, those are kind of questions. But again, the biggest point will be Ashwin. Ashwin will be coming back, so he will kind of probably be one of the, immediately he will walk into the leadership group, no doubt, but he will also be one of the bowling leaders. So how he helps out Dhoni or how he coordinates with Dhoni and then helps out Ruturaj will be, and Jaddu of course is there. So those will be the 4 pillars again, Ashwin, Jaddu, Ruturaj and Dhoni of course.
और वापसी के लिए क्या आगाज मिली है यार अश्विन को, क्योंकि पहले 2 मुकाबले चेपॉक में और पहले 2 मुकाबले किन टीमों के खिलाफ, पहले मुंबई इंडियंस, उसके बाद रॉयल चैलेंजर्स बैंगलोर, the 2 rivalries that dominate this excellent tournament. We've shown you CSK MI, CSK RCB will also be a 2-pronged fixture. The Southern Derby, you'll see edition 1 on the 28th of March, which is Friday in Chennai, and then closer to the end of the league stage on the 3rd of May, Saturday, they will face off at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. Last time they met at Chinnaswamy, that was quite a game to end the league stage for IPL 2025.
Is that the Yash Dayal one?
Yes, that is the Yash Dayal one. I mean, you could call it the MS Dhoni one, you could call it the Yash Dayal one, you could call it the ball change one. A lot happened, a lot went down in that game, and again, Dustin, both so well that these matches, which are so important as far as the audiences are concerned, you get to see them.
Yeah, I mean, this year we're not going to be short of rivalries at all in the IPL because, I mean, we'll come to this with the rest of the schedule, but also all of the captains who have left their previous teams are pretty much traveling to their former homes. In this case, there isn't as such a captain who's shifted, but of course, it's a huge rivalry. Yeah, RCB in general, again, we'll come to this, but RCB have a tough schedule because they have to go to some of the harder places, Chennai being one of them. Obviously, it's if you get a slow pitch there, then that's completely different from what you get at the Chinnaswamy. So, two matches at totally different in totally different conditions, possibly. Although last year Chinnaswamy also was offering some turn and could be a bit slow. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Chinnaswamy this time as well, late in the season.
By the time it came to the CSK RCB game at Chinnaswamy, there was no shortage of runs and drama because 200 was made, 200 was nearly chased. What a thrilling last over it was. So it's going to be brilliant. I mean, who knows, if it weren't for that last over, would Yash Dayal be a retained player at RCB? Things change when you perform in these kind of games. But just if we go back to that CSK schedule for the season, जैसा हमने आपको बताया, अपने पहले 6 में से 4 मुकाबले चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स चेपॉक में खेलेंगे, लेकिन उसके बाद towards the back half of the season there's a lot of travel that comes with its own set of challenges, George.
Yeah, but see, IPL teams now are used to this travel schedule, like they've done it for many years. They have processes in place. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I guess it all depends on whether you're winning or not and carrying that momentum with you when you go from place to place, and I think that is what is most important rather than, whether traveling towards the back end of the season or middle of the season is an advantage or a disadvantage. It all depends on how much of winning momentum you have, how that dressing room is doing. I think those are the critical aspects, and CSK are normally good at keeping the team environment really healthy. So I don't think that's too much of an issue.
Yes, it will all finish, at least as far as the league stage goes, for Chennai Super Kings at Ahmedabad when they take on Gujarat Titans on the last day of the league stage. That is the afternoon game on Sunday, but that's right at the end. What we are here to reveal the IPL 2025 schedule. As we're telling you, it is quite a spectacular opening weekend in line for all of us. Season 18 of Tata IPL kicks off with KKR hosting RCB at Eden Gardens. Eden Gardens will also be the venue of the final and qualifier 2. Kolkata Knight Riders, of course, coming in as defending champions. And then on the opening weekend, the first double header on Sunday, 23rd of March, you've got Sunrisers Hyderabad versus Rajasthan Royals in the afternoon, and then in the evening come the big guns, 5-time champions, both Chennai Super Kings versus Mumbai Indians, back at Chepauk after a wall. Let's take a look at MI and how their fixtures are. There is also MI RCB. We've spoken about CSK MI, we've spoken about CSK RCB. This is another date to mark on your calendars. 7th of April is when Row takes on Co. Mumbai versus Bengaluru is a game you'll get to see once this season. It'll happen at the Wankhede, 7th of April. So it comes at a time when both these teams, both these players would have had a few games played. But this is, again, another match which is sure to be a spectacle. Nagaraj?
Yeah, too many. I mean, the main question mark for MI will be whether Bumrah will be ready. That's the most important thing. If he's going to be playing, you would expect him to, based on what knowledge I have, you would expect him to probably, unless it's a very precautionary move BCCI takes, keeping the England series in mind, there will be a question mark over whether he will start the IPL. But there's a return of, remember, there's one important player coming back to MI, which is Trent Boult, who has a knack of taking, as we know, a record for taking first over wickets and etc., the first over wickets. So Trent Boult comes in, he fills in, then Tilak Verma, the kind of form he is in, he kind of allows Mumbai to kind of flourish in the middle overs, especially. Surya is already there. So Mumbai is, I think, the question mark for Mumbai and RCB will be the Bunu bowling attacks. RCB, Mo Bhatt has already said that the kind of brand of cricket that he wants RCB to play is to carry forward from what they finished last year, just attack. So if you're talking attack, then clearly this is once again, RCB are looking to kind of turn the page on, the way they have played previously. So overall, I think RCB MI, it's again, as you said, a good rivalry. The numbers suggest RCB have won 13 times, whereas MI hold a slight edge at 19 with one tie, which RCB won in the super overs. So it would be a close call, or fully watched and closely played contest once again, you would expect.
Yeah, and when they played last season at Wankhede, the runs were not in short supply. RCB scored 196 which MI chased down in 15.3 overs. Surya Kumar Yadav with a special. It is a game that has a lot riding on it. Usually, George, doesn't tend to be a game which is easy on the bowlers, regardless of whether they're playing at Wankhede or Chinnaswamy.
Yes, and this time you have Phil Salt, partnering with probably Virat Kohli at the top of the RCB order. So that's going to be pretty explosive. Salt had a fantastic season at KKR last year, and I think the conditions of the at the Wankhede will suit his attacking style of batting. And then RCB come in with Livingston probably in their middle order, and Tim David, who knows the Wankhede pretty well. So, RCB are going to bring a lot of firepower to Mumbai for this game, and Mumbai have their own firepower, of course. Like it's proven they're all through their batting lineup. I'm just curious as to see who will open with Rohit Sharma for Mumbai this season. I think there's a question mark there, whether they will go with Ryan Nicholton, who's been in really, really good form recently, or whether they think of someone else to partner Rohit over there. So, yeah, lots of runs to look forward to in that fixture.
Yeah, and that is always such an intriguing part. I mean, the intrigue value just doubles up almost when it is the start of a new auction cycle, because you've got all these dynamics coming into every side and how you expect them to line up. RCB ने सीजन के पहले ही एक काफी बड़ी अनाउंसमेंट तो वो कर ही चुके हैं. नए कप्तान होंगे उनके रजत पाटीदार, और रजत पाटीदार का ये जो मेडन कैंपेन होगा एज आईपीएल कैप्टन, उसमें ये है आरसीबी के फिक्चर्स. Like we've told you, RCB are starting the season on day one. They will travel to Eden Gardens for the opening game of Tata Ipl 2025 against defending champions KKR. Match number 2 is another huge one for them. They travel to Chennai to take on the Super Kings. And then they finally come home. First game at home is against Gujarat Titans. Dustin, take us through RCB's fixtures. What does that look like to you? What stands out when you see this?
Yeah, quite a difficult fixture list for RCB, because they travel to a lot of the hard places, but then they don't travel to some of the high-scoring grounds. Like they don't travel to Hyderabad, for example. And you would think that, again, Chinnaswamy being high-scoring, if they had a chance to also go to high-scoring grounds like Hyderabad, then at least they could have a strategy of, okay, we are going to try and be a 200-plus side this season. But they're going to have to keep pivoting, because, you're going to go to a place like Chennai where it may be slow and low. Then you're going to come back, play at Chinnaswamy. Then you're going to Lucknow also, I think they go where it could be slow and low. So they will have to keep, changing strategy, figuring out when to use the spinners, when to play the fast bowlers. It's quite a hard fixture list, I think, when you look through it.
Though honestly, I don't think any pitches are going to be slow and low at the start of the season.
Yeah, that's an illusion that was shattered last season with the kind of runs that were scored, with 200 almost feeling like 150, because 250 in the middle became the new normal. And in fact, even Chepauk was much more high scoring. So perhaps RCB, if they are to be closer to their old template, will hope that it is the Chepauk we saw last season. Nagraj, anything else that stands out? You don't see a lot of back-to-back home fixtures for RCB. How much of a factor is that?
Well, that, I think, back-to-back, I think...
Yeah, we'll bring that up for you soon. But yeah, RCB, you see their fixtures and you see a lot of alternates. They play one at home, they go away, home, away, home, away. So
there's one, if I may come in, Yash, there's one particularly interesting alternate, which is when I think RCB played Punjab on the 18th of April in Bangalore in the evening. And then they're playing Punjab in Punjab on the 20th in the afternoon. So that's, I think, as short a turnaround as it gets in the IPL.
Yeah, that's quite a... And to travel to Mullapur, the same teams playing each other in the space of, 36 hours. So yeah, that is quite intriguing with respect to RCB. And RCB are the team, of course, who will kick things off. Because as we're telling you, the opening weekend of Tata IPL 2025, it all kicks off on the 22nd of March, Saturday. Put that date down on your calendars. It will be KKR versus RCB. The game that started the story of the IPL all those years ago will be the one to kick things off for edition number 18. That is 22nd March, 7:30 p.m. Followed by the first doubleheader, which will see Sunrisers versus Rajasthan, and then the Classico, Chennai Super Kings versus Mumbai Indians. Let's take you through the fixtures for Kolkata Knight Riders, the defending champions. How are they lining up? They open their season at Eden Gardens against RCB. They will then go to Guwahati, which will be the alternate base for Rajasthan Royals. Rajasthan will have their first few home games in Guwahati. Dustin, sifting through KKR's fixtures, what's standing out to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're the defending champion. So, and as you said, like last year's all the grounds were so high scoring that it may not kind of matter where teams play. But yeah, they do have to go to both Guwahati and Mulanpur. So two different venues in addition to two venues which are not the home team's usual venue always. So that's going to be interesting. Of course, a big one is that Shreyas Iyer will be playing in Kolkata. So that's one to pencil in. That's going to be later in the season, 26 April is when Punjab come to Kolkata. So that will be one to watch for sure. Shreyas Iyer returning to Eden Gardens.
Yeah. Nagraj?
Yeah, I think for KKR, one thing is interesting. They play the second match in Guwahati. Guwahati is RR's, as you said, second home base where RR play 2 matches. But RR's record, I was just checking, in the 4 matches they have played in Guwahati, they have only won once. So KKR might keep that in mind. So considering they're playing at home for RCB first at home, then their second match, if they win, they can, that could be an advantage to them. But for KKR, going back to KKR, I think apart from the schedule, the bigger thing is they have to be very, they need to announce the captain. I think the choices we've already discussed earlier, immediately after the auction, it could be between Rahane possibly and Venkaya Iyer, though there are other contenders, 2 people might say. But who's the new captain and what is the kind of brand of cricket they would want to play this time in the absence of the likes of Phil Salt is not there, Mitch Stark is not there at the back end. Mitch Stark won them the playoffs with that spells in the opening bursts of where he took those wickets, crucial wickets, especially against SRH in qualifier 1 in the final. Sunil Narayan, whether he will open in the absence of Salt. There's QDK who's coming back. I don't think QDK has ever played at KKR. So these are kind of things for KKR to keep in mind other than the captaincy.
Yeah, George, when you consider the KKR squad, they have managed to retain some of the stars from that title-winning campaign. But as we've already pointed out, there's the captain's gone, Shreyas Iyer, who the new leader is, and lots of new players. That overseas mix will change this time. So how do you see their season doing?
Yeah, see, if you remember last year, at the start of the season, no one really gave KKR much of a chance. And Phil Salt came off. Sunil Narayan had the season of his life in the IPL. All of their batters, played really well, to the extent that players like Rinku Singh and even Shreyas to an extent didn't really have much of a role with the bat. They were that good. Their batting order was collectively that good. Andre Russell had a strong season for them and Stark came good when it counted. So yes, they do have a different makeup this time. So they will have to find players to fit into roles. Who's going to partner with Sunil Narayan at the top? Will Narayan have another batting season like he did last year? If not, what is plan B? So all these things have to come into place. I'm sure they'll figure it out. But yeah, I wouldn't think that, KKR are going to have they were really explosive last year after Sunrisers. They will want to be as explosive this season, but whether that happens remains to be seen.
Yes, all eyes will be on how the defending champions rock up for their title defense. KKR will start against RCB. They'll also end against RCB at the end of the league stage. If you're just joining us, Tata IPL 2025 के शेड्यूल का ऐलान हो चुका है. आईपीएल के 18वें सीजन की शुरुआत होगी शनिवार 22 मार्च को. 22 मार्च से लेकर 18 मई तक खेला जाएगा लीग स्टेज. फिर प्लेऑफ्स का हफ्ता 21 मई से लेकर 25 मई. फाइनल खेला जाएगा कोलकाता में ईडन गार्डन्स में. Total of 13 hosts. The toughest 20 goes on for 65 days with 12 double headers, 10 teams, 70 league games. Hyderabad will host qualifier 1 and eliminator, and Kolkata will host qualifier 2 and the final. And this is the opening weekend. It will all kick off with KKR versus RCB on the 22nd of March at 7:30 p.m. at Eden Gardens, followed by the season's first doubleheader, which sees the big hitters collide in Hyderabad, where Sunrisers host Rajasthan Royals, and then Chennai Super Kings versus Mumbai Indians. The Classico returns to Chepauk. Let's go back to the opening weekend, guys. Chennai versus Mumbai, Hyderabad, Rajasthan, KKR, Bengaluru. What are the storylines we are most looking forward to on this opening weekend, Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, you can't look beyond Chennai, Mumbai. That's always going to be a fun one, especially with the number of stars Mumbai have now. I mean, there's a lot of subplots in that game. Obviously, Hardik leading in Chennai, which will be an interesting experience for him. So that would be number one on my list of games to watch that weekend.
When we consider Sunrisers Rajasthan, very early in the season, George, it will be almost an audition between some of the batters who are positioning themselves for that opening slot, because we've seen Abhishek Sharma and Sanju Samson take over the stage, but Yashasvi Jaiswal is also in the mix. All three of them up against each other in the opening games for their teams.
Yes, sumptuous batting to look forward to in that match. Abhishek Sharma, Travis Head, Andre Klassen, I'm forgetting Nitish Kumar Reddy for Sunrisers Hyderabad lining up against Samson, Jaiswal. Young players who just know how to play one way in T20 cricket. And if Hyderabad dishes out services like they did last year, it's going to be quite amazing to watch. Abhishek Sharma, after that 100 in Mumbai, he's, I think, leapfrogged Samson and possibly Jaiswal to be India's number one T20 opener. So, yeah, three of them auditioning for two spots right there.
Yeah, that is Sunday afternoon, and then Sunday evening, of course. Chennai Super Kings against Mumbai Indians. Nagaraj, you've set up the returning narratives because you've got R. Ashwin returning to CSK. You've got Trent Bolt returning to MI. But there's also the interesting subplot of Deepak Chahar, who will now be in the Mumbai Indians camp taking on Chennai Super Kings, and they will meet twice.
Yeah, if I may, just there are many people returning. The one person, we'll come back to Chennai, Mumbai, but I think SRHRR, the one person I'm also looking forward to return is Rahul Dravid. He's coming back as the head coach at Rajasthan Royals. He was their former captain, etc. And remember this, that last time Dravid was at RR as coach or mentor at that point, they made the playoffs. They came in third, I think, 2015 season. So clearly, and he's brought his own entourage of support staff, Vikram Rathore and Sairaj Bhautule. He's moved from NCA to become the spin coach. But more importantly, at the kind of bowlers they've picked, quite interesting collective of bowlers at RR. There's Jofra Archer on one hand, and there are uncapped Indian players like Akash Madwal, etc., who have done pretty good in domestic cricket. Sandeep Sharma, remember, people don't kind of, we do talk, we do give during the season, but I think these are the kind of bowlers who have really helped RR and teams wherever they played. Sandeep Sharma is one of the best slow ball kind of execution of slow balls he does. And so I'm looking forward to that contest. While Sunrisers 200 plus, they have scored consistently. Their bowlers have also kind of gone for runs. In those 200 plus matches, they've also leaked 200 plus runs. So yes, and coming back to Chennai, what are the things like? I mean, Dhoni, I guess how much we can't stop talking Dhoni. I'm like, we haven't heard what has he been doing. What was the last thing he did outside of the Yash Dayal thing from last season? What he's recently done, I'm not been following exactly, but definitely once again, is he the oldest? Yeah, I guess no brainer there. I think he'll be the oldest player in the IPL once again.
Years old.
Once again. So clearly, what new things, George? As George mentioned, I think in his first answer, the kind of six hitting he did last year, and he kind of outmuscled some of those bowlers, even like the weak points, they were the weak areas that people perceived he had while six hitting, bowling outside off, etc. He kind of covered up for that. So what is he bringing new to this IPL? So let's see. So Dhoni, I think I sometimes I feel that remove Dhoni from IPL and what happens. In fact, I have a very interesting anecdote to share. Just allow me to quickly tell this. One of the rival franchises was saying that when is CSK match? Please tell me when is a CSK match, because that's a sellout. Because apparently Dhoni sells out the grounds like nobody else does. Like nobody, like Kohli, etc. is this, but I think Dhoni holds that position. So yes, and now you have CSK MI. Chepauk, I don't know what's going to happen on that first Sunday. I wish I can be there, but no, I can't. I won't be. I know.
Yeah, nothing apparent about that. It will be CSK MI at Chepauk, Dhoni, Rohit, Hardik, Ruturaj as captain. It's a galaxy of stars. But MI fans, this is what the rest of the season looks like. After meeting Chennai Super Kings in game number 1 at Chepauk, MI go to Hardik Pandya's ex-team. Gujarat Titans is match number 2 in Ahmedabad, and then the first home game is against defending champions KKR. So when you look at that, George, it is quite a top billing start to MI season.
Yes, three big games to kick off their season, two away and then one against Kolkata at home. I think they have a pretty good record against Kolkata at home. So they, hope to get off to a strong start there with hopefully, a win or two before they come back to Mumbai. Yeah, it's a pretty tough start to the season, I would say, for Mumbai, but that's how the schedule goes in the IPL. Yeah, you can slice and dice it any way you really want, but at the end, yeah, if you get off to a winning start, it's great for them. They would have gone through some tough fixtures with wins then, and then the rest of the season becomes, more straightforward.
Yeah, and then after that, you see their next home game is against RCB, which is the only time Rowe and Co will collide, at least in the league stage, unless, of course, they go on to meet later on in the season in the playoffs. Dustin, just sifting through, one of the contrasts you can see already is that smattering of home and away games, because it's quite constant. There's no big run of home games or away games back to back.
Yeah, I mean, I think things will be different for Mumbai this season. One of the obviously big storylines was last time Mumbai at home was not necessarily an advantage for them because the home crowd didn't particularly receive the new captain very well. At the latest T20 International in Mumbai, we were actually there and Hardik Pandya got a great reception in Mumbai. So I think the atmosphere in Mumbai will be very different this season. Although they do have two away games before they have their first home game. So hopefully the fans don't decide how to react to Hardik based on the way the first two away games go. Of course, if Mumbai win at least one of the first two away games, then the captain and the whole team should get a good reception when they come to the Wankhede anyway.
वो कहानी पूरी तरह से पलट चुकी है क्योंकि पिछले साल दिक्कतें थी कुछ मुंबई के फैंस ने थोड़ा टाइम लिया था अपने नए कप्तान को अपनाने में, लेकिन उसके बाद उन्होंने जब वापसी की, पहले तो वो लौटे एज T20 वर्ल्ड चैंपियन, जो वांखेड़े में सेरेमनी हुई थी इंडिया की T20 वर्ल्ड कप विनर्स के लिए, और फिर जैसा डस्टिन ने बताया अभी इंडिया की सबसे हाल में जो T20 आई हुई थी इंग्लैंड के खिलाफ, वहां भी हार्दिक पांड्या के रिसेप्शन में कोई कमी नहीं थी. सो नागराज, at least that angle of it is that ship has sailed and things can be smoother for Hardik Pandya.
Yeah, when they decided that, when they got together, when we broke that story, I think when Hardik was retained as captain, they got back all the senior players and ensured that whatever is the plan they have, it would be a collective plan and let the players decide if you have to trust the people who have told me that. So clearly Hardik has been unanimously picked as the captain, not just for 1 year, but as a sign of continuity that they had decided that this is the guy who's going to lead us for some time post Rohit. But at the same time, they want the support of Rohit, Bumrah, Surya. These are the most senior players in the squad. They want them to support Hardik at the same time. So clearly on captaincy front, there is clarity. Remember, there's also a return of Mahela Jayawardene, under whom MI flourished. Most of the titles were won. He had moved away for a season or two, overlooking as the umbrella head of the MI T20 franchises around the world. But now he's returning as the head coach, so that's another big thing. So how he kind of works with Hardik. Mark Boucher has moved out, but Mahela's return will also kind of be an advantage. The other bit I want to talk about the schedule is like last year, Mumbai, I think it was unprecedented. They finished last at the bottom of the table. They only had 4 wins. Out of those 4 wins, 3 were at home. So right now, they would want to kind of improve that home record. They clearly need to win most of their home matches. In terms of travel, if we look at, I think, what are they in the first half? How many home matches do they play? Can you just check quickly?
3 of the first 7, but the 8th is also at home. So it almost sort of balances itself out.
Yeah, they're lost. I mean, they're on various fronts due to various other... They were distracted by other things, but that home advantage is where MI lost. Something like bigger teams like MI and CSK, whenever they've won the title, they have had that home advantage, dominant home advantage. So that is one thing that MI will focus on, you would believe.
Yeah,
if I can come in,
go on.
Yes, quickly. The one thing MI and DC will have to watch out for is that at the end of the season, they finished their 14th matches first, and then the other teams play after that. So they will have to ensure that they do whatever they have to by that stage. Like they won't know any equations, what to do to get ahead of another team on net run rate and all of that. So MI are finishing their season earlier than the 8 other teams. So they will have to do whatever they can and not leave their chances of qualifying for the playoffs dependent on anyone else, really.
Yes, and that is an interesting subthought. I think it was a couple of seasons back, 2022, where Mumbai and Delhi played the last match of the season against each other. But that's where Mumbai's season ends. It begins, of course, on the 23rd of March, closing out the opening weekend of Tata Ipl 2025 in Chennai against the Super Kings as the two five-time champions collide to close out what is a blockbuster start to the 18th edition of the IPL, which will kick off with KKR versus RCB at Eden Gardens. But sandwiched between those two blockbuster matches is a tussle between two of the biggest six-hitters you can think of in the tournament. Sunrisers Hyderabad versus Rajasthan Royals in Hyderabad. That's the first afternoon game of the season, where Sunrisers Hyderabad, who just did everything to change how we perceive T20 batting. 3 scores of 250 plus they managed in 2024 alone. And this is what their set of fixtures look like. They obviously enjoyed playing at Hyderabad and changed our definition of big hitting, Dustin. And they get to begin with 2 matches over there and 4 of their first 6.
Yeah, which will be a big advantage for them. Looking at the teams they're playing as well. The Rajasthan game, I think we've spoken about, should be a blockbuster. Lucknow is a game where Lucknow have not historically been known as a very high-scoring team. So that could be a fixture that's in Sunrisers' favour. And of course, them playing so much at home. You have also a replay of last year's final quite early in the season, 3rd April. So that should be an interesting one. And then, of course, late in the season, one to keep an eye on is when Sunrisers go to Chinnaswamy, because of course last year you had the famous 549-run game. So that's one that, I mean, I don't know how the pitch at Chinnaswamy will be that late in the season, but that's one that you remember for sure from last season, and we'll have a repeat this year.
Yeah, Nagaraj, the way they were batting last time at Hyderabad, it felt like no total is too big. Their batters have only gone and done more things. We've seen what Abhishek Sharma has been doing at the international arena. Is this going to be when 300 is touched for the first time?
If I were a bowler, I would not even I would be be scared about the kind of things Head and Abhishek have done, and neither of them are kind of taking a back step. They just want to hit every ball for a 6 virtually, and the bowlers would be wondering, please give something to us. But I guess one thing for Sunrisers, other than batting while batting is their strength, is they've lost a very important bowler in Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who, regardless of whatever his form might have been, he might not have been that kind of potent, kind of a lethal weapon that he used to be once upon a time. His experience is lost, and what he tends to do. So that's something I'm kind of looking forward to, that who takes up that role at SRH. Are there any sort of senior bowlers who's
they brought in Shami.
They've got Shami. That's the one thing they've got. They've got Shami's for Bhuvi, but they've got actually the other guy who they've got is Harshal, who was he was the highest leading wicket taker last year. They've got a new spinner in wrist spinner in Rahul Chahar. So yeah, I mean, will Shami kind of play that Bhuvi role? Shami is expected to do that power play bowling, play that role in the power play. Harshal will play that back end role. There's also the newcomer in Ishan Kishan. We're going back to batting Ishan. I think whether would he open? Do you think he will play in the top order? That's another guy who can hit big. So yeah, I guess Sunrisers. Yes, I don't think there's anything new except for that absence of Bhuvi for me, which stands out.
That's, Nagaraj, quite interesting that you managed to tell us a lot about Sunrisers Hyderabad while completely refusing to answer the question I wanted you to answer. So I'm going to take that to Dustin now. Dustin, will 300 be touched this season? And if it were to happen in Hyderabad, you look at those run of home games, which game is the likeliest?
Well, I mean, I'll be slightly old school and say I hope it's not touched, because I think the bowlers will have some say in the IPL this year. So hopefully we won't say 300. because that's then really just almost, I mean, you might as well have bowling machines at that point if batters are scoring at 15 and over. But if you're asking for which game could be the most high scoring, I do think the home game again. I mean, I think maybe a game against, do they have Mumbai at home?
They do.
Yeah, I mean,
They
again,
had Mumbai
Mumbai didn't do
back-to-back.
great with the bat last season, but you look at the firepower in their batting lineup and you think that could be a game where it gets close to, I mean, one team could be close to at least 280.
For me, it could be Eden.
All right. Which is
Eden
on the 3rd
Gardens,
of
where they
April.
scored 200 plus.
Yes.
Both teams scored 200 plus last year, Eden. So,
the interesting thing about the Sunrisers schedule is if you look at the list of venues that they're playing at, apart from Vizag, where I don't know what the pitch might be like, all the other venues, Kolkata and Mumbai, are also high-scoring venues. So their batters, you know, if they hit a hot streak, this could be one explosive season for them.
Which will be an incredible continuation of the kind of narratives they've built up last season at the Sunrisers. They begin, of course, by hosting Rajasthan Royals. What do Rajasthan Royals fixtures look like? They are starting their season, of course, in Hyderabad, but after that, their first set of home games are at their alternate base. Nagraj, you've touched upon this, but worth reminding our viewers that Guwahati, while it is a welcome alternate base for Rajasthan, hasn't been the happiest hunting grounds for them.
Yeah, like I said, in 4 matches they've played, they've only won once, if my
that is
stats
right.
are correct.
Yes.
So, yeah, so they've only won once, and they're playing, which means they're playing their first 3 matches away from their home. Oh, not first 3. In fact, they're playing all their 1, 2.
Yeah, they only
5,
come to
right?
Jaipur in their 6th game.
Jaipur
Yes.
only, 6th game will be the so which means they're playing virtually away from home those first 5 matches. So that is the big challenge for them. How does Dravid and Co and Sanju Samson, who's the captain, how do they kind of manage this? So it's with a new bowling lineup of sorts, that could be the key talking point. And also, like, who keeps? I think Dhruv Jurel will keep if Sanju Samson he's just had a finger surgery, isn't it? So I think you would expect Dhruv Jurel to start that match.
That's right.
Oh yeah, they've lost.
But
one last point on the RR have lost 2 key bowlers from the past 3 seasons, which is Ashwin and Chahal, who were we don't need to say much about. These are match winners. They are the like.
Yeah.
So how do they kind of fill that hole will be one of the other challenges.
George, Dustin, the thing that's interesting is since they do play a lot of the games in Jaipur in the back half, you consider a lot of Rajasthan's last few seasons, there's been a lot of tailing off. They've started seasons in excellent fashion and then in one case tapered off so badly that they didn't make it to the playoff. And in some other seasons as well, they've just lost that momentum. That run of games in Jaipur hopefully helps them address that.
Yeah, hopefully it does. Again, it just depends on what sort of momentum they're on at the time. And I guess having Dravid back in that setup and him, managing that dressing room could make a significant difference this season. They were in a great position last season to finish top 2, and then I think they, lost out. So they wouldn't want to make a repeat of that this year for sure. They do have an exciting bowling attack, I think, because I think they picked up Vanindu Hasaranga.
Yes,
as well as
they've got the Sri Lankan spinners. They've got
Tikshana.
Hasaranga and Tikshana, that's right.
And Jofra Archer. So, they could, I think they could have a potentially quite exciting bowling attack. And some of those venues are big venues. Jaipur is a big ground, so they could use that to their advantage. Yeah, hopefully we won't see them tailing off this season.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll be
yeah.
interesting to see what pitches we see in Jaipur, because you do have Tikshana and Hasaranga as 2 of the big buys in the auction. Of course, they always had good spinners because they had Chahal and Ashwin in previous seasons. But it'll be interesting to see if maybe there is some turn on offer in Jaipur to get Tikshana and Hasaranga into the game.
Yes, so that is the tale for Rajasthan Royals. देखते हैं किस तरह से उनकी bowling combination आती है. राजस्थान अपने initial matches अपने second home venue पे खेलेंगे. एक और है ऐसी टीम जिनके alternate home venues है, which is Delhi Capitals. They have the alternate home base of Vizag Nagaraj, which where we haven't seen a lot of action.
Yeah, I haven't actually checked the numbers, but clearly they have. I guess the GMR, who are the principal owners this time, or the running the team this time, I guess they have some sort of connection in Vizag, so they might be. But they have played in the past there, so it's not like a completely new venue for them. For DC, I think the other than the schedule, what you look at is also they have a completely Indian coaching staff this time, inexperienced to many people will feel, but at the same time, these are guys like you have Hemang Badani, who recently, and Venugopal Rao, the director of cricket for DC this time. These two combined well at ILT20 when they won the title in recently at Dubai Capitals. They have Munaf Patel also in their coaching staff, and then they're yet to announce their captain. Remember, Rishabh Pant was not retained, so Rishabh Pant has gone to LSG. So who's their captain is still a question mark. Is it KL Rahul, or whether it is or is it Akshar Patel, who is now the Indian vice captain in T20s? Recently played against ODIs, played against England, so that's one challenge. But I'm looking forward to one match, DC versus LSG, where KL will play. I want to see what happens and how KL bats.
And not just one
match.
It is their first match. KL Rahul will get to begin his journey as a Delhi Capitals player, who knows captain or not, but as a DC player against Lucknow Super Giants. You can't write these narratives. It will be a sensational start. It will happen at Vizag, which is the alternate home base for Delhi Capitals. They will play games at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi later on in the season, but they begin in their alternate home base, which I'll remind our viewers is actually a venue which will be special to Delhi fans, because Vizag is the venue where they actually won a playoff game for the first time. Delhi had not won a single knockout or playoff in the IPL till 2019, but when it finally happened was at Vizag against Sunrisers Hyderabad. So it is a ground which is special to the Capitals. George, Dustin, quick thoughts on Delhi, the rest of the fixtures. Of course, Delhi-Lucknow is an intense beginning.
So
Lucknow,
just going
Delhi,
back to that
there's
first...
a reverse picture as well where Delhi go to Lucknow. It'll be interesting to see where KL Rahul has dinner that evening. I'm guessing it won't be in Mr. Goenka's house.
George.
So you're forgetting the other side of the story as well. Rishabh Pant versus Delhi.
Yeah.
But he's not getting to come to Delhi, unfortunately. He's playing in Vizag.
Yeah. But like the most expensive player in the history of the IPL, now going to captain Lucknow against, the team that he grew up in the IPL. Like, all these memories of Rishabh Pant as a teenager hitting one-handed sixes, all of that is in that Delhi jersey. So, it's almost as strong a narrative as Lucknow versus KL Rahul.
Yeah, and that match we talked up about Delhi beating SRH at Vizag, their first ever win in a playoff. Guess who was player of the match in that win? It was Rishabh Pant. Let's now turn our attention towards another team with a big past. Gujarat Titans have had such a great start to the IPL, won on their maiden season, made the finals in the second season, missed out last time. Here is what their fixtures look like, and immediately what stands out when we make the comparison is that smattering of home games to begin. They have Punjab Kings and then Mumbai Indians at home in their first two games. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, two home games to begin with. That's always an advantage. You would think so. Punjab Kings are also like a team that has a new captain and a coach in Shreyas and Ponting, so they will be like testing certain things. So Gujarat might feel probably they're more well settled. Their core group they retained already, so there are a lot of plus points for Gujarat if you're in the Gujarat camp, starting at home, having the core group, etc. So I don't see like the challenge would come probably late. In fact, they bookend that. They start two home games and they finish with two home games. If I'm not mistaken, they play back to back, right? 14th and 18th May. Yes. So they have that advantage of starting at home and finishing at home, and that to two matches. So they can, if they have to, get back on the points in terms of points, and if something happens in the middle of the season, they can always come back and repair that at home.
Yeah, and you can see that home and away split. Yes, George.
Yeah, they've been really hoping that Josh Butler finds his mojo back in India again.
Oh, yes.
It's been a while since he played one of the most iconic innings of the IPL last year in Kolkata for Rajasthan Royals. Like, completely sensational innings.
Yes.
I think he was injured also during that innings. Like, I think he
had some kind of leg injury, I think.
Yeah, I've never seen batting like that in the IPL, and but since then it's not been a happy tale for him in India in the World Cup and then in this bilateral series. So yeah, hopefully he'll have a good season for them. His partnership with Gill at the top, really exciting, something to look forward to.
Yeah, that is one of those partnerships added to the list of blockbuster opening partnerships we have. That is Gujarat. Let's turn our attention towards Lucknow Super Giants now. How are their fixtures looking? This, as we've just mentioned, they begin, of course, against Delhi. Rishabh Pant, as new Lucknow captain, goes back to Delhi. What a narrative there. And then they're in Hyderabad. The biggest thing they are hoping for is a Lucknow pitch which allows their batters to thrive, Nagraj.
Well, they have two types of pitches. They can decide whichever pitch they want, red soil or black soil. They have a choice to make. And Zahir Khan, remember, he's the mentor now, so he will be very cleverly. The pitches, Rishabh, yes, but does Mayank Yadav start IPL? There have been strong question marks about whether his availability. He was, remember, the few matches he played. He was the player of the match in the 2 or the 3 matches he played last IPL with 150 plus speeds. So yes, but if Mayank doesn't play, they still have Mohsin, who's also not played recently domestic cricket. So looking at the schedule, LSG schedule, they start against Delhi, DC, and then they go to SRH, and then they play Punjab. Yeah. So
just to come in there, Yash, the Delhi Lucknow fixture we spoke about, but if you remember last season, the Hyderabad Lucknow fixture was the one where Lucknow season kind of unraveled, and they were so smashed by Hyderabad, and those images of, I think, Mr. Goenka talking to Rahul, it was after that game. So there's a lot of spice in that fixture as well this season, because it'll be a new revamped Lucknow outfit looking for some payback against Hyderabad.
Yeah, that was 165. They hit in less than 10 overs.
Yes,
that is,
and 10 wicket win. Oh God, that was
Yes, you can imagine there are friendlier conversations happening between Lucknow's new captain and their owner, and surely among those conversations, Dustin, Rishabh Pant, who knows he has Nicholas Pooran alongside him, is trying to get the message across to the management: let us bat a little more happily at our home base.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, last year, if you remember, Lucknow started the season very aggressively. In fact, they had a couple of games where even, KL Rahul and Devdutt Padikkal, who were at the top of the order at that time, came out going hard. I think they had, they had both Pooran and Stoinis coming in very early. And then somehow they went away from that later in the season. So I think this year it will be about just keeping up that same momentum of going hard through the innings, which I think is something that Langer likes, and I think that's why he's brought Pant in there. So I see them being a more aggressive side with the bat this season for sure. They'll have a bit of depth as well. David Miller could be somebody who plays a big role coming in later in the order. So I think there will be a bit of a change in strategy for them.
So that does it for Lucknow Super Giants. We're almost out of time, but we are going to show you the fixtures for Punjab Kings. Lots of changes there as well. You have a new captain in Shreyas Iyer. You have Ricky Ponting taking over. And this is how things will appear for Ricky Ponting's first season in charge of the Punjab Kings. They get things underway in Ahmedabad against Gujarat Titans. Another away trip to Lucknow for their second game. Then they have their home base, Mullapur, where they play 3 of their next 4 games, 4 of their next 6. And they are also one of the teams with the alternate home venue, and Punjab will have their last 3 home games this time in Dharamsala. I'm afraid that's all the time we have on this, so I will thank Nagraj, Dustin, George, my colleagues, for what was a riveting last hour. Can't wait for the season to unfold. Thank you, gentlemen, for your thoughts, for your insights. But let's take you back. We know the dates. Tata IPL 2025 will kick off on the 22nd of March, Saturday. And in the opening weekend, you've got the biggest rivalry resuming. Chennai Super Kings versus Mumbai Indians on Sunday, the 23rd of March, the season's first doubleheader. We'll see the five-time champions collide, and they will get a second go at each other at Wankhede. And here we are. This is where things will kick off. It will be a blockbuster start. CSK versus MI on Sunday. There will be Hyderabad, Rajasthan before that. A battle of big hitters in Hyderabad. And then KKR versus RCB, where the IPL kicked off in back in 2008, is where season 18 will kick off. Thank you so much. This was the Tata IPL 2025 schedule announcement.